Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. There is much talk about renewable energy, and this should be the way of the future. And Tesla's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. But is it even possible to get the whole world to run on renewable energy? Well, a 100% renewable grid isn't just feasible, it's already happening. Let me show you where, and let's dive right in. Well, right now, renewable energy is only a very small percentage of the world's energy consumption, under 5%. But this is going to change in the future, and we already have a lot of great examples around the world showing that it is possible. But also the way we make the energy and the contribution of it is going to be very different in the future. But we already have seen countries at or very near 100% renewable power in their grid. Iceland is already at 100%, Paraguay 100%, Costa Rica 99%, Norway 98.5%, Austria 80%, Brazil 75%, and Denmark 69.4%. And the main renewables in these countries are hydropower, wind, geothermal, and solar. And study shows that the worldwide fossil fuel use could end as early as 2050. But then renewable energy could entirely power countries that today account for more than 99% of all energy use, according to a new study. Researchers at Stanford University and other US and European universities has plotted out roadmaps for 139 nations to transition to 100% renewable by 2050. While the individual power mix of each country vary, the vast majority, about 95% of all energy demand, is predicted to be met by established wind and solar power technologies. And making things more efficient is also going to help with the amount of energy we need, because many people are looking at the energy we use today and think that is what we need to replace with renewables. But take electric cars, for example, because just by switching from combustion engine to electricity could cut energy uses by nearly a quarter due to electricity's greater efficiency. For example, in an electric car, 80% of the energy is used to move the car and the rest is wasted as heat. In a petrol car, this is reversed, with only 17 to 20% of the energy from the fuel is used to move the car. The rest is just wasted. 80% of the energy is wasted. So just by making this switch to EVs, we are saving a quarter of the energy we need for our transportation. And making electricity is also much easier than getting oil from miles underground out at sea, then making it into usable gas for our car and getting it transported around the world to the gas stations. All this costs a lot of energy, where an electric charging station can just put up solar panels or have a solar plant nearby and store the energy in batteries or send it directly into the cars, again saving a lot of energy. So when we're talking about how much energy we need in the future, we also have to understand that in many areas of our society we will need less energy than before, because everything is getting more and more efficient. But many are also afraid of all the job that is going to be lost in the oil and gas industry. But this is also kind of a myth. There will also be created a lot of jobs in the renewable sector. The study I referred to before, to get to the 139 countries to go to 100% renewable, also shows that this will result in 27 million jobs lost across the industry, such as oil, gas and nuclear energy. However, the study claims that it will be offset by 52 million jobs created in renewable energy generations and transmission, a net increase of 24.3 million new jobs. So don't let that one scare you. But there is much more to it than just countries making renewable energy, because we will all be making energy. Let's start by taking a look at companies, because they are already changing as well, and companies like Apple are leading the way. Apple is already globally powered by 100% renewable energy. This achievement includes retail stores, office, data centers, co-located facilities in 43 countries. This is a pretty big deal. Apple is showing it is possible to run one of the biggest companies in the world on 100% renewable energy. If they can do it, everyone else should be able to do it. And Elon Musk has been saying that their gigafactories will also be run by 100% renewables when they are all complete. We will see this for many factories going forward. Probably many countries will demand it in the future. If you want to build a factory in our country, you need to be 100% self-sufficient with renewable energy. This is going to be the trend going forward, and people are getting more and more aware of how their products are made and getting more and more environmental friendly. This is why we also see that energy companies that are into renewable energy is growing, and all that is not is shrinking. Society's mindset is changing, and the companies that want to survive have to change with it. And I know I am one of the people that made that change. We changed our energy provider to one called Vindgust, which is making all its energy from only windmills. So they are growing because that is what people want. People are seeing the impact that pollution has on their communities, countries, and the world. And most people are changing for the better. Buying more organic, more local, want to go electric, get solar on the rooftops, and so on. I, for one, am buying organic and local. I have stopped buying, for example, apples that comes from Chile or other places around the world. It just doesn't make sense. We can grow apples here in Denmark. I even have a little apple tree in my backyard. So why would I buy something that comes from the other side of the planet? So I know that I, for one, is changing and becoming more concerned about how I live and the impact I have on this planet. We don't have a planet B. Earth is something special. We have not found anything like it out there in our known universe so far, so we have to take care of it. And luckily we see more and more people taking action, seeing more and more business taking action. And in the future you will probably not have a business if it is not an environmental friendly one. And we see the Paris Agreement that is forcing countries to reduce their CO2 emission and increase its use of renewable energy and increase in energy efficiency. That is why we also see many countries are going to ban sales of new gas cars by 2030, 2035 or even 2025 like Norway. It might seem like a crazy goal to already end new sales of ICE cars in 2025, but Norway has been pushing hard for getting electric cars on the road, and even today they are not far from that goal. In September of 2020, Norway already had plug-in vehicles at 82% market share, and 61.5% were fully electric cars. They are actually not very far from their goal of banning sales of new gas cars by 2025. And only be able to selling old gas cars going forward and gradually phase out the internal combustion engines. So countries like Norway are already leading the way, showing the world this is very possible. And it doesn't have to take decades. Just look at how fast Norway went from over 80% market share for plug-in vehicles. They gained over 50% market share in just 4 years. And even Volkswagen expects their EV sales to make up for 90% of their sales in Norway in 2021, next year. If you want to sell cars in Norway, you better make some EVs. And Norway is not the only country that is going to do this. Everyone will follow. Norway is just moving faster than everyone else, and therefore a nice little window into the future for other countries to follow. But what about charging infrastructure? How will all these EV charge? Well, first of all, many will charge at night at their home. So that's not really going to put a lot of load on the grid. And in the future, I do believe that every mall, shopping center, supermarket, hotel, restaurant, coffee shop, and so on will have chargers at their location, and maybe even for free for their customers. And about 87% of all electric car owners want to charge at home because it's just so much more convenient than going to a gas station all the time. But not all are able to do so for now, because in the future all parking lots around the cities will be fitted with charging as well. So even if you live in an apartment in the big city, you will be able to charge your car overnight in the city. If you can park your car, you can charge your car. With new chargers like the one Fully Charged made a video about from Urban Electric, that is not taking up a lot of space because it is all in the ground. It will be there when you need it, but out of sight when not in use. I think something like this will be a very common thing in the cities in the future. Urban Electric is already putting up more chargers and going worldwide in 2021. I think this is going to be the way we charge the most in the future, at home, at night. Not like we used to today with our ICE vehicles, where we always have to go to the gas station to fill up during the day. There of course have to be a lot of charging stations on the go as well, for when we have to drive really far on a road trip or just driving many miles a day. But this is also being developed today. Like GridServe, that is going to build 100 electric forecourts around the UK. The first one in Braintree is already under construction and expected to be done here in November. And they will be hooked up to the grid, but they will be feeding the grid with power from their solar farms. So for every electron they are taking out of the grid, they are putting one electron back in the grid. So these charging stations will be making net zero transportation beginning this year. And it is of course not only GridServe that is doing this. This is a new energy business, and we are also seeing many other charging station companies pop up, like Fastnet in the Netherlands, that is expanding to other places in Europe as well. That is also 100% renewable energy. So even people that are on long road trips that need to use the charging station will not be hurting the grid as much as people think, because they are also going to make all the energy they need themselves. And when it comes to cars, remember, we are heading for the full self-driving future, where we will also have about 80% less cars on the street. So the problem of getting enough power for the transportation sector is also going to be 80% smaller for public transport. But there is of course more to it than just energy for our transportation. But here in Denmark we also have a little island that is 100% run on renewable energy called Samsø. And they want to be 100% fossil fuel free by 2030. So in just 10 years they don't want any of their residents to be driving ICE cars on their island. So this little society is a good showcase, and people from all over the world come to see this place and how they're doing it. That is possible to run a whole community on renewable energy, including transportation. So it should be very feasible to just scale it up, making sure that every company follows in Apple's footstep and run their entire business on 100% renewables, and countries follow in Norway's footstep, getting the whole transportation industry to go electric, and follow Iceland, Paraguay and little Samsø's great examples of their grid is already run on 100% renewable energy, making sure that every official building and school have solar on the roof, and everything is as energy efficient as possible, and get some windmills, wave mills, solar farm, geothermal power plant, gravity batteries, and so on and so on. There are being worked on so many different renewable energy sources and storage that can be implanted in our society. It has only just begun. And of course, making sure that all houses in the future will be built with solar on the roof and batteries for storage of the energy and connected to the grid to help out as a part of a virtual power plant. So every household is going to be self-sufficient with energy, probably even produce more than they need. And in the garage of every house there will be an electric car that is also powered by the energy the house is making, and occasionally using a self-sufficient charging station. So instead of thinking that we need all these big power plants to feed the whole community is going to be the power plant, a virtual power plant like the one in South Australia, where Tesla has shown it is possible to do with their autobeta program combined with solar and batteries. So every family house is going to make all the energy they need themselves. Every school will make all the energy they need. Charging station will make all the energy they need. Every company will make all the energy they need. Every city will make all the energy they need. Every state will make all the energy they need. Every country will make all the energy they need themselves. But not by some few big power plants, but by many smaller renewable energy power plants everywhere in many forms and shapes. So I think it's possible for the world to run on renewable energy because everything and everyone is going to make its own energy. Something we're not used to. We're used to just getting our energy from the grid and that's it. And everything is going to be more energy efficient and use less power, and countries are going to make more and more renewable energy power plants and virtual power plants. But it's going to take time and it's going to be a very different way than we are doing it today. But we have already seen small-scale and country-size example that it is possible. Now we just need to scale it up and get everyone involved. Because it is very important that we get countries like the US and China to switch to renewable energy, because these two countries are using a lot of energy. The US alone stands for about 17% of the world's energy consumption, even though the US is only about 4.5% of the world's population. So they are an important player that needs to become more energy efficient. And in 2017, Chinese Qinghai province did run for 7 straight days entirely on renewable energies, only wind, solar and hydro. That was part of a test by the country's state grid corporation to show that a post-fossil fuel future was practical. Very cool. So they are pushing hard in China also for electric cars, but they are a very big country and they still have a long way to go. But we need these big giants to change with us, because we are all in this together. We all need to do our part. We all share this planet. The climate crisis doesn't care about borders, skin color or political agendas. If we mess up this planet, we mess it up for all of us. We have no planet B. And it looks like it should be very possible to get all our energy needs from renewables. So there's no excuse in not trying. And we have to. We will run out of fossil fuel at some point. But it is also killing our planet. That is killing us. We need sustainable energy. It's in the word sustainable. There is just no way around it. But we still have a lot of work in front of us and it will take time. But the faster we get there, the better, before it's too late. And that is why Tesla's mission is so important, to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. But we can do it together. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.